Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Intuitive Guidance with Justin and Tor. As it is Pride Month this week, and both Justin and I identify as those pesky gay people, we're gonna do some tarot on the on LGBT. Not that we've not done this before, but gosh, it's Pride. It's impossible not to talk about it. And Justin came up with a great idea. So I'm gonna hand over the reins to Justin and let Justin guide us through this episode.
Yeah, so it was Tor's idea to do something around Pride, which was awesome and fantastic and very appropriate. We're doing this on June 2nd, so we're only a day into what is universally now called Pride Month.
Yeah.
Uh, but the first thing when he postulated this or posed this idea to me was looking at pride historically, ancestrally, but also looking at pride individually and collectively today. And so, what I thought we would do is each of us will pull a card. We'll do three different cards each. The first card we will pull is that look through the tarot at ancestral pride, historical pride, the event itself of, we'll call it Stonewall in 1969, the reason why we celebrate it in June largely. The second card will be personal and collective to today, to 2026, as we're recording this, and what pride means to us on an individual and collective level in this moment of time. And then the third card is a guide. What does it mean? What is a practical tool for us to lean into through the lens of the tarot, which then becomes the lens of our personal selves as we go forward from this date, whenever this video, this reading finds you. And whether you identify as LGBTQ or not, chances are, if you're listening to Tor's podcast, you're at least an ally at the very least. And if you're not, then welcome and become one. Because it's important, it's important for those of us that do identify openly as LGBTQ, etc., to have those allies and support, especially in this moment of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for that lovely intro to today's experience. Shall we pull our cards? How does that sound?
I have a question for you first because it's funny to me. I love that you chose the word pesky gays. What made you say pesky, and in what form does that mean?
I
Do
mean,
you
it's
mean
kind of humorous, isn't it? So
yes,
it's just
yes.
funny, because I suppose, I mean, I have enough, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-irony, I guess.
Hmm.
As I was watching this video, and it was a funny video, and it was this lady on Instagram who was, do you know what Fire is in London?
I don't.
It's a
No.
very famous gay nightclub.
Okay.
And she was talking about, she's a comedian on Instagram, and she was talking about having walked past Fire at like 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday,
Right.
talking about all these gay people looking fabulous, leaving this gay nightclub. And she was like, they can be my nanny. They still have energy after clubbing for an entire evening, an entire night, and they still look good coming out of this nightclub at 10:30 in the morning. They can take on an extra hour and look after my child for an hour. I think that'd be good. And so it kind of comes from that humorous place, I guess. And I thought it
Yeah.
was a very funny video because I have been to Fire, so I thought that was funny.
It is funny, and there's something special about London gays in particular, but it also applies to just gay culture and history too. That
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could party and dance or whatever off, and then go to work the next day, or show up for the family event, or for some of us even go to church if that was a thing we were inclined to, which is insane. But anyway,
I mean, I remember probably 12 years ago leaving Fire in the morning on a Sunday and looking around and seeing all of these people in their best Sunday clothes, either going on a
yeah,
hike or going to church. And I was
right.
like, I have not been to bed yet. I'm going home to go to bed.
But you just ended your sort of church, which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. That is very true. That's so funny. That is so funny. Ancestral, personal, collective, and practical.
Yes, we have three cards: ancestral, personal in terms of today, and then the practical card as a tool to take forward. So, do you want to just reveal one at a time, or do you
Yeah.
want to show all three of yours, and then I can show three of mine,
Actually,
whichever?
I'll show all three of mine. How does that sound?
Cool. I like it.
That's different to what we
It is, because usually we
usually
trade
do, isn't
off.
it?
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. So ancestral is the Two of Pentacles.
Mm.
And I think what's quite interesting about that, and it makes me, I don't know, I know you referenced Stonewall, but I don't know, I love like Harvey Milk, right? Which
Yeah.
I would say is like the one of the ancestors, right?
Absolutely.
And I think what he did was obviously incredibly brave and incredibly courageous, and he could have chosen to stay in the closet, right?
Yes.
Two of Pentacles is about choices.
Hmm.
His choice cost him his life,
Yes.
and it's not that long ago.
No. 1979, I believe, was his assassination. 78, something like
Yeah,
that.
something
Yeah.
like that. And I think it actually was in May because I think it was a celebration last month. And Two of Pentacles, he had a choice, right? He
Yeah.
could stay small and stay hidden,
Mm.
or he could stand up with pride. And I think obviously it's a shame that it cost him his life, but wow, what a powerful presence and story.
Wow. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And there's a certain, with pentacles, it's embodiment, right? It's physical. It's a physical choice.
Yeah.
It's taking yourself out of the proverbial closet, like you said, in terms of Harvey or ourselves. And on the Smith Rider deck, there is a ship, a boat that is behind the figure that's dancing on a beach, juggling
Mm.
two pentacles in an infinity loop. And if we want to take that story cue, we could say that for like Harvey, it was no longer juggling these two parts of himself, it was integrating it, turning around, and then taking that ship into the future. And now he's a part of our history in a
Mm.
beautiful, powerful way.
Yeah, because he's immortalized, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and there's so much strength to draw from that story.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. What a great card.
What a great way to start. Yeah. My second card, uh, the Four of Cups, personal, collective.
Yeah. For right now. Yeah. How do you read that? That's interesting.
It is interesting. So on the card, this person is sitting there. It's got three cups in front of them, and then there's another cup up there who's like on a cloud.
Yeah.
This person is like meditating, taking their time, contemplating. I mean, it makes me think of, and I mean, it's a bit trite, but it does make me think of, wasn't it the Trevor Project, which was
Yes.
"It Gets Better"? Isn't that
Yes.
was that the phrase?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes me think of that. Is that if you are able to somehow zoom out,
Hmm.
right, and just take the time to look at the bigger picture, is that
Hmm.
yes, when you're like in the midst of it, it might feel really, really crap. But if
Yeah.
you're able to take you out of your situation and go somewhere else and get that bigger picture, I think that is always helpful. And also it's still true to today, right? It's like, there are political parties that are in play in the UK right now who thinks that if just because I'm gay, it would make me a bad dad and that I shouldn't be able to get married. So it's still very real today. It's not this foreign, different thing that happened a long time ago. It's happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Really well said. The thing I thought of, which goes right along with that, is fours to me and the smaller arcana, the pip cards, as it were, of the tarot are kind of like almost like a precipice point. To me, it's like
Mm,
the four legs of a table. It's like, okay, there's some stability. Now we can take a breath and kind of look at where we're at before we keep going forward. Because we're not even at the halfway mark between the ace and the 10. We're
mm,
close, but we're not there yet. And cups, as we know, are emotions in the heart space. And
mm.
this image that you held up mirrors Smith Rider image, which is a figure with their arms kind of folded, a tree supporting them, three cups, they're being offered a fourth. And I think it's important for all of us personally and then collectively, because it spills over, pun intended, with a cup, that we expand the heart space.
Mm,
We don't just sit on the victories of the past, to be political for a moment, to say it that way. We also don't sit on our own personal victories either. We keep growing, we keep expanding the heart.
mm,
We keep showing that love and affection to ourselves and each other, not take in the toxicity that's still unfortunately being talked about and maybe even being directed to us in a way that's even more poignant than it was in the past because it can be so invasive in every area because of
mm,
technology. It's
mm,
not just a speech someone gave in a park, it's a constant feed of information on any of the social platforms, for
mm,
example. Yeah.
I think that's so, so, so true. And then the practical is the Ace of Wands reversed,
Ooh.
which usually is not that practical, but um, you know, wands, fire, energy, creativity. But I do think that, and this kind of speaks to um, what you were talking about already, which is about expanding your heart and recognizing your gifts. And I mean, this is a bit euphemistic, but there are a lot of people who wants people of minorities, gays, LGBTQs, other minorities to be small L and almost non-existent, right? The worst phrase I hear is like, "I don't care what you do as long as you keep it in the bedroom."
Right.
It's like, but then no. Are you gonna
Mhm.
say that to every straight people on the street, person on the street who's holding hands?
Right.
No. And so don't let outside forces
Mm.
keep you small because it makes them feel uncomfortable. Because that's what
That's
it's
right.
about, right? It's their discomfort.
Yeah.
And their discomfort is them for regulate to manage. What do you reckon?
And I think on a grand level, on a very human level, individually and collectively, we're lazy MFers as human beings. And what I
Mm.
mean by that is we don't really expand unless there's discomfort,
Yeah.
unless we're prodded to do so by something. And no one loves to be in that state. I get it. But we're
Mm.
not out to my life isn't there to make straight people uncomfortable. But
Mm.
if it does and it prods them to evolve and grow, great.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
I'll tell you what my life isn't. I'm not here to be small, as you just said. None of us who are given the magical property, and that goes into wands as well, of being on, anywhere on the LGBT spectrum. I'm not here to contain my magic in my little closet.
Mm.
And with the Ace of Wands reversed, I always love to read reversals and do, as it means there's a deeper meaning and a more personalized one. So
Mm.
to me, the instant that you pulled that, what came to mind is the magic is in you. You
Mm.
have the magic wand. And that's not a pun on a certain male physical member, but it could be. But it really is, without all jokes aside, the magic is inside of all of us. And if
Yeah,
you're not using it and expanding it, then you're doing a disservice both to yourself and the world around you.
I agree. Do you want to pull your three cards?
Yes. Let me shuffle, and then I'm going to have you intuitively pull them, but then I will read them, of course.
Sounds good.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. You're really tapped in today, my friend, by the way. I loved your readings and the fact of what you pulled. Not that you aren't normally, but you know how there's days as
Sure.
tarot practitioners where we just kind of we know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm reflecting that to you. All right,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to start flipping them. So one, two, three. We'll start with card number one, which is that ancestral card. Tell me when to stop. Here we go.
Stop.
Great. Card number two, which is that card for the here and now, pride for the here and now. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
right? And lastly, and certainly not least, what is a tool, a practical piece of tarot wisdom that we can incorporate going forward? Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Right. And that one stuck to my hand, and whenever that happens to me, it just means that that's one to really pay attention to. Not that the others aren't, but that one has like this little special value. So as I flip card number one, Tor, is the card reversed, yes or no?
Reversed.
Okay. So the one that we're looking at from ancestral pride, and to keep in mind as we're looking at this today in 2026, is the Emperor reversed.
Hmm.
And so, to me, this is kind of cheeky in saying that the powers that were, right, which we could then say almost the powers that be, like they didn't love the disruption that came from that moment in America in 1969, and then the subsequent events that happened in London and all over the world to free people from, the chains of government regulations, etc. And this is still honoring the fact that there are many nations, one is too many, but there's more than one that still, would kill people that are openly homosexual or discriminate against them to the point of a death, whether
Yeah.
literal or. But it is to say that that is part of our ancestry is to subvert the so-called rulership, to challenge it. And it's important to remember that that moment of Stonewall wasn't a party. It was a effing riot.
Hmm.
It was standing up to police. There was violence. There were people arrested. There were people hurt. And if that's what it took to have a revolution to be who we are, then that's what it took. And it's important for us to remember that. If we're out in a parade, which we should be, in whatever way that means, whether we're supporting it or in it, with our rainbow stickers or shorts or whatever it is, to remember that we can celebrate now because of blood that was spilt then.
Hmm.
So that's what comes to me. How about for you, the Emperor
Yeah,
reverse? What would
no,
you say?
absolutely. To me, it's all about standing up against structures that are not conducive to freedom, liberation, and well-being. Yeah, yeah. Perfect.
And I think that's the reason why it came in reverse,
Yeah.
because otherwise I think it would have a different, more empowering meaning,
Mm.
perhaps. And it's not to say that a revolution isn't empowering because it is, and it was necessary. And
Mm.
in some small way, it still is.
Mm.
So the card that we have for pride in the here and now today, both individually and collectively, is that card reversed, yes or no?
That's upright.
Great. Oh my God, fascinating. It is the Eight of Swords.
Woo.
I love it, and I'll tell you why. Because first of all, I don't look at this as a negative card. I don't believe, as you all who have followed this have probably heard me and or Tor say, there are no negative cards in tarot. There are challenging cards, for sure, just like there's challenges in life. This one is there is a mental block for some of
Mm.
us, maybe all of us, something that we're not fully wanting to see, something that we have blinded ourselves to purposely. And it's probably because it challenges us, and it probably because it might mobilize us to do something that feels a little uncomfortable.
Mm.
The thing that comes to mind is something that Tora and I talked about briefly off camera, which we can then bring into camera, and that is really embracing what it fully means to be gay. And for gay men, which we both are, we're having gay sex. I'm sorry. That's what it is. Sorry,
Mm.
not sorry. And if that makes, again, people uncomfortable or they don't want to envision that, which this person has blinded their vision, so be it. I'm not asking them to imagine it,
Mm.
but I'm also not living in such a way where I'm compartmentalizing myself to the point of suffering and causing myself depression or anguish or anything else to make
Mm.
others uh, feel better.
Yeah, all of that. I think there's also, as you were talking, there are also, of course, unhealthy aspects to gay culture.
Yes.
Drugs, drinking, etc., and so on and so forth. And when you were talking about when you said perhaps there's parts that we don't want to look at,
Yes.
I think sometimes we may shy away from those parts of gay culture, I think, and that's maybe where like that sense of personal responsibility comes in, right? How that historical shame and guilt and what kind of behaviors that has is still leading to, I guess. And so maybe there's something also in there for us to be like acknowledge that this thing amongst many gay men, LGBTQ people exist, and we can't shy away from that either, and doing all of that in balance, I guess.
Well, I want to tag off of that because that's absolutely brilliant. And I told you you were right on it today, and you are. That was great. A teacher of mine once said that all energy is sexual, which is
Mm,
its own interesting topic for another time, maybe. But let's just say that that's true, or say a lot of energy is. We could at least all say that that's true. In this case, it is blinding ourselves to the thing that separates us, quote unquote, from other people. We are homosexual, single sex, not, and I can include bisexual as well. In other words, we're not heterosexual where it's men and women, right? That's but the point. All to say, it is the sexual aspect that we can be blinded to as well. Because
mm,
why are we taking the drugs? It's probably to either enhance the sex or avoid it and not be
mm,
present for it. Either one is very destructive.
mm.
You know,
Yeah,
as an example,
as an example, yeah, yeah. So it's important to acknowledge that as well, I guess.
yes. And
Yeah.
one of the first things that you and I, Tor, ever did on this on the channel is we were exploring like hookup culture.
Oh yeah,
And
true. Yeah.
what tarot was telling us is like it's not that it's bad or good, and we weren't looking for the tarot for a moral answer, whatever that even means. But it did show us that it is important to pause and ask yourself why you're
Mm,
doing anything. And that includes hooking up every other night with a different person. It isn't a
mm,
right or wrong. It's what is the intention? Is that really fulfilling what you ultimately hope to gain from it? Yeah,
mm.
it's really great. And lastly, but very importantly, what is this card? Is this card that's a practical tool for us to take forward? Is that card reversed, yes or no?
It's reversed.
Great. And it is the Two of Cups, another two,
Woo.
reversed. So, as a practical tool with it reversed, again, I read reversals as it means that there's a deeper meaning for a person. The Two of Cups is really the love card of the whole deck. And it's love that can be healing. We can see that with the caduceus here on the card. All to say that if it's reversed, we have to give that love to ourselves first. It's what
Mm,
RuPaul says. If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an
mm.
amen? It's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And as gay people, anyone on the LGBT spectrum, we have a love capacity that transcends. It transcends supposed borders. It transcends time. As we looked at our ancestors,
Mm.
pride is a rainbow. It's a plethora of all colors on purpose. And can you give that to yourself to then be able to further give it to your community, to your lover, to your lovers, to anyone that's in your space in whatever capacity that is? That is a really great tool and dare I say challenge for us to go forward with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also building upon what was said in the previous one is that gay men, LGBTQ people can also have deep, meaningful love connections, right?
Yes,
They don't have to be shallow.
right.
They can be
That's right.
deep, they can be meaningful, and all of the above.
Yeah. And they don't have to be hidden.
And they don't have to be hidden either. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whoosh.
I think that was a lovely little intuitive tarot guidance for Pride. Are you going to do anything to celebrate Pride this year? Is there a Pride where you're at? Is there a Pride celebration where you're at?
So this is interesting. So I live in Las Vegas at this moment that we're recording it. And because of the heat and probably some corporate BS as well, we don't celebrate Pride here in Las Vegas until October.
Oh, huh.
So there are pride related things that talk about the collective pride Stonewall in particular, that like there'll be events at the different gay bars and locations that will pop up and distinguish themselves because
Mm.
it's right. But the actual pride celebration with the parade, etc., doesn't happen till October.
Okay, which is also, I mean, it's probably also smart though, right? Because there will be other cities that have Pride during June and July and August. So they obviously want to attract
Yes.
people during that month, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have my own thoughts about that, and but I think I'll say it this way: the one plus is what you just said. Like, why wouldn't we, if we have the ability to travel, especially, want to and enjoy celebrating as many of those pride celebrations all
Yeah.
over the world as we can? I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. And we have ours here in London. I think it's the first weekend in July, or is it the last weekend in June? I can't remember. Either
Probably
way.
the last in June because I think you more closely mirror Stonewall, which I want to say was the like 26th or 28th or something of June when it happened originally.
Yeah, yeah. Because I know that Clapham Pride, which is where I live, is on the 27th of June.
Great.
So it's happening around that time at some point,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And what will you do, if anything, for that specific celebration?
I'm not sure. I did walk the parade one year, which was really lovely, but it was also very hot.
Yes.
And so it's not the most pleasant thing in the world, you know.
No.
We might head into town and just, have a walkabout, be amongst the other gays, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that. But I haven't made any solid plans just yet.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. But in
we'll see.
whatever way you will honor it, and that's the same for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's so important that it's still happening, it's so important.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you so much as always for coming on, Justin, and
Well, thank
doing
you.
this with me. I really appreciate it. And if this resonated with those of you who are listening, we would love to have you here back next time. Thank you so much for listening. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.